Welcome to the Flathead Famous podcast brought to you by Engage Fitness, where we highlight the businesses, people, and stories shaping life in the Flathead Valley. If you live here, you know this place attracts people who want more from life, not just success at work, but the ability to actually enjoy this valley and all that it has to offer. Today's conversation is with Will, a lead coach at Engage Fitness in Kalispell. We're talking about something most busy professionals in this valley are quietly struggling with, and that's staying physically capable enough to do the things that made them want to live here in the first place. Welcome, Will.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Dude, we're finally doing the podcast after all these years of talking about it.
Thinking about it.
It's here. I don't know who's more excited, if it's you or if it's me.
It's both of us, all right?
Yeah, that's the truth. Well, Will, you've got a lot of experience in coaching. You could really coach anywhere. What made Engage Fitness the right fit for you?
Yeah, it's very unique in our ability here to find a balance between letting coaches kind of have their own autonomy to be able to coach people and letting their own personalities kind of shine and form relationships with people. It doesn't feel so corporate, but at the same time, also being able to strike a balance where we do have standards and protocols and things that make it so we as a company can actually promise a certain level of standard and guidance and protocol to our clients while still letting the coaches kind of be themselves and coach in their own style, because we all kind of fill each other's gaps and specialize in different things. And I think that that kind of environment and culture and like family is something that is very unique to hear, and I found immediately attractive my first day getting to meet with you, coming in, looking at a couple of different studios and being able to kind of shadow with you and just seeing the way that, other people's clients interact with each other, the way the coaches interact with other people's clients. It really did feel like the kind of culture and community that I wanted to be a part of.
Dude, that was the goal, right? Was to build a space for coaches to come do what they love to do without a lot of oversight, but just keeping KPIs in mind. And I've seen you do that time and time again with so many different clients.
Yeah, thank you. And it's something that I don't think is even unique to me. All of our coaches, I think, do such a good job at that. And again, I think that it's so cool being able to uh have my clients come in and they start bantering with other people's clients. And every now and again it gets to the point where I'm like, all right, we are actually working out
Yeah.
too. But
Yeah, stop talking. No relationship
yeah,
building here. This is work.
yeah, it's just not fun hour. All right. It's not social time, it's not jaw day. But
Yeah.
no, it's really cool though, because I've had people I had a client recently who he would even tell me when he first started last year that he's like, I don't like the gym. I don't like working out. I don't enjoy it. I never have, but I know it's something I just have to do. And over time, coming in and kind of like feeling like hot stuff. He'd come in and just the little relationships and banter that he built with all the people that were there at the same hour as him. And he would even like brag to me or tell me like, I said no to doing XYZ today because I wanted to be here. It's like really, I think you know who I'm talking about too.
Yeah. Yeah, I could probably put the pieces together and know who that is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a unique thing that people who, even if they don't enjoy, just like working out, that's not all that there is here. Obviously, that's what you come here to do, to get your work in, get your guidance, get your fitness on, and we do that really well. But that's not all what you get when you come in here. It really is a culture and a family and a place where people can come and be really comfortable.
Right. Well, and we've worked really hard on trying to create that culture, and to kind of get right to the point. You've got a lot of clients that you work with on a weekly basis. One of them that we talked about highlighting was Ron. Ron is such an awesome guy. I love it when I see him early in the morning. I never know what I'm walking into when I say good morning to him. I know I'm going to get a fist bump, but that's about it. So tell me a little bit about what he's actually trying to do with his life, not just his workouts, because I think any coach can write a good workout program.
Mhm.
But what we really try and do is understand where our clients are, what they're trying to accomplish, and then write programming for that. So he's a busy guy. Tell me a little bit about what he's trying to do with his life.
Yeah, something that I think, speaks volumes to that. One time, he bought a book for me and then bookmarked one page only to show me a graph that's in the book. He didn't send
Dude,
me
he
a
did the
picture.
same. He did the same thing for me. I'm like,
Right?
awesome. Thanks, man.
He'll print out articles and then give me the hardback instead of sending me a link or something. But he bought me a book and bookmarked a page. And he said, I don't even care if you read this book, but I want you to see this and how cool I think it is. And it really highlighted what was important to him. It had quality of life on the y axis and age on the x axis. And it showed kind of two graphs compared to, like, someone who regularly exercises and someone who doesn't. And as people get older, their quality of life starts to slowly degrade and
Yeah.
fall off until one day you die. And so, but that line, is a slow drop off. And then the other one where it showed, the person who exercises regularly and takes care of their health, that line, it doesn't dip for a while. Eventually it's just gonna, but then you die. But that
Right.
line stayed high the whole time. And that visual for him was so valuable enough that he wanted to like bring me this book and show me this graph. And he was just like, that's what it's about.
Right.
Because, even if someone's 50 years old and they think I'm too old for this whole gym thing, like you could have 30 more years in that body. Like that's not a small thing. You're too old to not do the gym thing. Like that's
Yeah.
it's not secondary. And so for someone like him who is not trying to compromise on what he gets to do with his free time because he has so little, he likes to bike, he likes to hike, and being able to do those things without his knees, his back, and other parts of his body just slowly degrading so that if all he does is get out for a hike every few weeks, he's not going to get super good at hiking from doing that. He wants to be able
Right.
to put his bike on the back of his car, go up to Glacier, and then have some hips, knees, and legs that are going to carry him up to the top so he can get a good view, even though that's the first time he's like gone on a bike ride in a couple of months, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that book was called Younger Next Year, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
dude. I have it in my bookcase over here.
Dude, and
Um,
that's what Ron got it for you?
he did the same thing. And so what's so funny about that is that it shows me the consistency of what he's really after.
Hmm.
Right? A lot of times we get clients that come in and they're like, well, I want to lose weight. I want to get stronger. I want to, what did I hear the other day? Lose my lunch lady arms. I'm like, look, I have that too, but
Well,
if you flex,
the
it goes
tricep.
away. But like there's such a value in just quality of life. And I know really that's what Ron and most of our clients actually are looking for when they join with us.
Yeah, I looked up, thinking of that story, I looked up the book, a little bit before we hit record, and, it's like $6 on Amazon, and I'm like, "You know what? I bet he's bought this book for a ton of people."
Yeah. Yeah, I think he probably has. We may not just be special. He may do that with everybody.
Yeah, we both I thought I was special until you said that you had it too from him.
Nah, nah, dude, we're same, same.
Same. No, I think that it's something that's really cool about just anybody's fitness journey in general is the kind of overlap that you're going to find no matter what your initial goal is. Like, it's really cool to hear people maybe say, I could care about the whole aesthetics thing. I just want to be able to chase my grandkids around someday. Like, I'm not
Right.
trying to like do a bodybuilding show. I'm not about that, whatever. But everybody, to some degree, they do care about what they look like. And although that's not what we're gearing his whole program towards, obviously, because that's not really their goal, eventually they just get stronger. And a part of being in better shape, maybe getting a little bit leaner. And then they'll kind of catch themselves in the mirror and be like, oh, I didn't used to have that. That's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Or someone who works out only for that. And they're like, I just want to put some meat on my bones. I want to get stronger. I want to get jacked. And then they're like, I didn't realize that my back was always kind of stiff. And since we started doing a lot of these hamstring moves, I actually feel a lot looser.
Yeah.
There's the kind of overlap, no matter what someone's goal is, so crucial to just like stay mobile.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all as human beings, we're bipedal. We stand on two legs,
Hmm.
two knees, two ankles, two feet, right? So there's a certain amount of just quality of life, which is having strong legs and being able to get out and about. So, I mean, like Ron is a great example of a lot of clients that we work with. But if somebody's listening and they're like Ron, over 50, stressful career, he travels all over the place, packed schedule, and they start with a coach at Engage Fitness, what would that first 30 days at Engage Fitness look like for them?
Yeah, those first 30 days, well, we always start with an assessment. That's like a crucial, non-negotiable day where we take, our measurements, we do an in-body scan that we have at the studio and run them through just a series of different like basic mobility, flexibility, and strength tests just to see where they're at. Because someone coming from a background like that, like typically is coming to us because they're like, look, I'm not doing it on my own. All right. Like it's been a while. And that's a really cool day. One, because it gives us a ton of data on them, just their body, how they move, how they think they move, how they feel when they move, and all these things, and also where they want to go. So then we take all of what we know about how they move based on our like pretty in-depth assessment and then what they want to do and where they want to go and pack that together, and then that kind of determines what their first month program looks like. And something that's really fun during the first month is after the assessment, most people are really surprised at how sore they are. They end up pretty sore.
Well, we'll go
Yeah.
with that.
It's not super gratuitous exercise. Like it's not a horribly challenging day, but it's just been a while since they've done stuff like that, and so they end up really
Right.
sore. And they think like, okay, good, I worked out, I guess, but I'm pretty surprised at how sore I am based on how little I did. That was just the assessment. And then over the next 30 days, pretty quickly, and I love promising people this like day one because it always happens, is I'm like, you're gonna notice over the next 30 days that not only are you gonna do just as much as you did on assessment day and not be sore, but you're going to do stuff that's gradually a lot harder and a lot
Yeah.
more than you did on
Yeah.
assessment day. And you're going to be less sore than you
Yep.
were when you did that. And so getting to see people in real time, those first 30 days, get something that's very tailored to them. And they see that because it's based on what we gathered from them on their assessment, what they said that their goals were, and then watch them in real time be like, I'm doing a lot more and I'm less sore. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, the kind of peaks and valleys of how strong you get in a certain amount of time, how quickly you adapt to a certain thing and don't get sore from it anymore, that does flatten out over years and years of training. But those first 30 days are really fun because you get to see in real time that just totally flatten out from like the sorest that you're going to be right at the beginning to being able to handle a bit more and feel better doing it.
Right. Well, and I think that's one of the misconceptions with people about soreness is they think like, "Oh, that was a great workout. I'm super sore." Well, when in all actuality, all that soreness means is you did something in a greater range of motion or a greater capacity, whether that is more weight, more reps, deeper range of motion. And so you taxed the muscles greater than what they're used to doing. Therefore, you have a response. And the more fit that you get, by and large, the less frequent the soreness is. And I kind of liken it to like if you haven't hiked in forever and then you go on a 5 mile hike up in Glacier National Park, right? Like you get up the next day and your butt hurts and your hamstrings hurt and your calves hurt and you like don't want to move your ankles at all, right?
Yep.
But if you were consistently hiking, shoot, a 5 mile hike is not a big deal, right? So you think that's kind of what the brand new clients are facing when they start up?
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of people will have an idea in their mind that the more sweaty and the more sore that they are at the end of a workout means that their workout was better. Like
Yeah.
those are the kind of criteria for a good workout: sweaty, sore.
Well, dude, I do the same thing with my clients when they're like not sweaty enough. I just like dip my finger in some water and sprinkle. Like,
Yeah.
look how much work you're getting done.
There, we got it. We got it today. The
That's right. You must work out. You're all sweaty.
Yeah, and it's like something that is also cool because I think that that's like an intuition that people have. Like, it's just kind of a very mainstream preconceived notion of like what a good workout is. But getting able to kind of explore that a little bit deeper and be like, how did you feel after your last workout? And then there's really no wrong answer because we just want to know. Obviously, it'd suck if you were like everything hurt in a really bad way, but that doesn't really happen. But if someone said, oh, I was pretty sore, but it was good, then it's like,
Yeah.
awesome. Or if they're like, I wasn't sore at all. I'm also like, great.
Sweet.
You're gonna kick it today.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
that's not what
totally.
I'm
Well, but
looking at.
right. The difference between being sore and being in pain because we make that delineation very clear. Like,
Right.
we're not physical therapists, we're strength conditioning coaches. Like, we can help you improve your range of motion, your strength, your cardiovascular endurance, your anaerobic capacity. Like, we're going to do all those things without you knowing about it. However, if there's constant pain that's happening, then we're going to refer you to a PT. And we just happen to have some great PTs, physical therapists that we work with and have good relationships with, and so I know sometimes that soreness can be a deterrent for people to get started, but these moves are like they're not loaded, most of them. Body weight squat, lunges, lateral lunge, we're checking mobility. The only thing that's really loaded is a pull down
Not really.
motion. Yeah, where we're looking for some back strength. We're also looking for like how well their arms and their shoulders and their back muscles are actually working so we can give them some correctives as well.
Yeah, and with the standardized weight for that too, I would almost say that that's mostly what we're looking for. I think that a lot of men, especially if maybe they have a gym background and they're like 85 pounds, that's really light. It's like, that's fine. Do it for 10 reps.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't the assessment all about grading their movement? Like, I don't really
100%.
care how strong a client is when they start with us because we're going to help them get stronger,
Hmm.
right? I don't care how flexible they are because we're going to help them get more flexible, more bendy, right? But what I do care about is how well their body moves and then being able to have the understanding to adjust the program appropriately for them because it really is customizable programming, right?
Totally. Like if something like maybe a standing toe touch, I say like, all right, push your hips back and touch your toes. And there's things that I can take from observing them and apply it to how I coach them the next time I see them. If I say push your hips back and all they can do is round from their back and their hamstrings are really tight, well, the next time I see them, I'm not gonna be like, all right, let's like make your hamstrings not tight anymore.
Right.
I'm gonna be
It's a
like,
gradual progression.
right, because that's gonna happen over time just as their body responds better. The thing that I
Yeah.
am really looking for and the thing I'm gonna take and apply in the next workout, I'm like, "Let's learn how to hinge at your hips, because I didn't look like that you really knew how to do that the first time." And that's, like,
Yeah.
crucial, like, entry into a whole world of deadlifts, different squat variations, and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have to move well before you move often. And don't you think that's where a lot of people get it wrong?
Yeah, totally, and that's where injuries happen for the most part,
Right.
especially for people whose story is, I went to the gym really consistently, 6 days a week, pushing super hard, and then hurt myself, and then I was out. And someone's frequency and intensity and all these other things are like almost like they're incredibly important, but you have to know how to do it well first. Otherwise,
Right.
you're gonna do it wrong and you're gonna hurt yourself. From day one, especially that assessment day being so crucial because it gives us so much data on how we're gonna make this person move better so that they can earn some heavier weights. Because ultimately we want to get you stronger too.
I mean, that's the probably the most requested thing that I see in a free consultation is when I ask them what they want to accomplish, what they're looking like, the hierarchy of their needs.
Mhm.
Getting stronger, playing with my kids, playing with my grandkids, going cycling. I haven't done any movement in a long time. I don't want to hurt myself, but I know I need to get stronger. Those are all huge, goals for a lot of people that start with us. And it's fun to see them in that first 30 days be able to go from, wow, I could barely do 10 body weight squats to now I'm doing, shoot, 3 or 4 sets of 10 in body weight squats as well. And I think that for customizability of the program is so valuable. And honestly, we do that with our contracts, we do that with our flexible scheduling right inside of our private facility, right? Like there's not a lot of waiting around on equipment because the people that are coming in for an appointment so we can control the flow and the cleanliness. And it's really a big difference from a lot of other facilities in the valley. There's some really great facilities in the valley. I'm not saying anything against them. We just tend to operate a little bit differently.
Mhm.
So, in your own words, who do you think specifically our facility is built for, Will?
I think that the way that we do it is just it's built for people who are really busy and don't need a new hobby. That was the way I had an old client who worded it essentially exactly like that, and I thought it was really, really well put. She said that, like, "This is a priority for me. I need to stay strong, I need to stay healthy, I need to stay fit. I have things that I wanna be able to do when I'm not working, and I just don't need a new hobby." And there are certain things that maybe I like to geek out on a bit more in my free time because I love this stuff. And
Right.
I could maybe try to share some of that to somebody, like with a presupposition that they're going to then go like apply it. Like if they were to incorporate maybe a couple other workouts outside of just meeting with me, and they're just kind of like, don't care, it's
Right.
not for me. And I like
Well, they're because that's what they're really paying you for. Right?
100%.
They're paying you for their expertise. They're paying for you to watch their form, adjust the weights up and down, tell them how much effort they should be putting into their workouts. Because, contrary to popular belief, it actually takes effort to see results.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
say it ain't so.
The great analogy I thought of, I recently I hit a deer with my car and busted out one of my headlights, and my hood of my car kind of dented a little bit. And I looked online, and changing out headlights in a car is not really that hard. But I've never done it before, and I hate
Right.
working on my car. It's just one of those things I hate doing. When I have car troubles, I give it to somebody else. And so I found someone who actually does refurbish turnover
Repair.
cars. And so I brought it to him and had him do it because I was like, I probably could. I don't want to. I feel like
Right.
maybe if I did, maybe I'd do something wrong. And you seem like the person who I could bring it to, and you're going to do it a lot better than I would. And we got all the lights in, and then I'm like, "Ugh," we tested them. I was like, "They look great." And I go to slam my hood down, and he goes, "Wait," because he noticed that there's the little dent on my thing. And if I were to slam that, it would have shattered the brand new light that I just put in.
Yeah.
And so it's like, even after I thought it was done, it wasn't done because I was just about to ruin it all.
Right.
And that's just not something that I ever would have considered. I saw the problem as being the headlights, put the new headlights in. I go to slam my hood down. He's like, hold on, you're about to destroy the light you just put in because this dent is hanging too low. And it's just something that never crossed my mind, even for a
Right.
moment while I'm working on these lights. And so it's so similar in that the people that are coming to us are like, I don't need a new hobby. I probably could do it on my own. I don't want to. I don't really know how to. And I'm not trying to learn how to do it all. And even if I figured out how to do it, there's stuff that I just would never have considered that are really, really important and might
Yeah.
protect me from getting hurt or really important for my longevity in this.
Right, well, and so many people see a YouTube video, like you just said, and think like, "That move looks great. I should do that in my next workout." And what they don't realize is their body's just not prepared for that style of workout or that load or that range of motion or where the weight is positioned. Man, there's some overhead work that is super valuable for people, especially as you age. If you wanna be able to change a light bulb, you need to do overhead work. However,
Mhm.
if you don't have the range for that, if you haven't created range of motion, that exercise that you saw online, it's not going to do you a whole lot of good because you're going to be so restricted. You're going to compensate in the rest of your body for it. And that is the value of hiring a professional for what you're trying to accomplish, so you don't break your brand new headlight.
Right, exactly. In real time, he was just like, oh my gosh, if I let you just slam that thing down, all of our work, I
Dude.
watched him do it.
Well, and I think we talked a little bit about like the challenges that people have, but do you tend to see people tend to derail themselves, and then how do you help them as a coach to not go off the deep end?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that our quarterly goal reviews do a really, really good job at giving like people's goals a name. A lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with coming into a gym and saying, I just want to be fit and healthy, and like I just want higher quality of life. I want to be stronger, what have you. And then we kind of take that watch you and then apply it and try to get you there. But our goal reviews quarterly are such a great opportunity to be able to make people kind of voice it. They're like, they'll say, I want to maybe lose a couple pounds. Like, I'd like to lose some weight. And it's like, well, what does lose weight mean? Because
Mhm.
you can just like stop eating and stop coming in here.
Right,
Because if you build some muscle mass, it's not super conducive to losing weight. It's super conducive to losing body fat. Is that what you mean? And making people
right.
kind of put a label on the things that they actually want and be that kind of point of accountability to them like on that journey, because if people don't have that, then they'll tend to just show up nominally for their workouts, maybe with a coach, if all they offer is just a workout. But things
Yep.
like our client success manager being able to give people shout outs, people like whoever their coach is, being able to give them shout outs, ask them frequently, like, hey, our goal review, you said that this is what you wanted to see the next time we sat down and talked about it. How are you doing on that? You said you wanted to get more protein in. What have you had to eat today? Nothing? Okay, well, what are you gonna eat right after this? That's gonna like help kind of make up some of that because it's noon. So
Right.
things like that, being able to be that accountability partner to somebody. And if we know that they're struggling, just give them a shout. We don't stop being their coach just because they leave at 1 o'clock when their workout was at noon.
Right. Yeah, I love that you brought that up because the goal reviews are by design there to help you have a window to recognize where you are and set a goal for 90 days. All right. I love in Atomic Habits where James Clear talks about we're really good at setting goals. We're not very good at changing our systems. So
Mhm.
you'll very rarely rise to the level of your goal, but you'll always fall to the level of your systems. And by taking every quarter to say, hey, what are you proud of accomplishing? What were your challenges? What do you want to accomplish moving forward? And here's how I think we can help you get there. It helps them recognize that, hey, look, if I have a fat loss journey, it might be more valuable for you to take 90 days and really hone in on that. Because a 2 year, 3 year, 4 year fat loss journey might not be the best way for you to try and lose fat, right? If you're continually trying to eat less and less food without strengthening your body, you're just going to run into issues. And eventually, the discipline of not eating enough food is going to wear you down. And so when we take those 90 days, it allows us to have just kind of this window to look at specifically what do we want to accomplish and how are we going to get you there.
Totally. And I like what you said there too about almost like shortening the windows, because with frequent check-ins too, it makes like the journey scalable too. It's if I said I want to be able to bench 300 pounds, but every week and every month and every quarter, I'm not, I start at 200 and I haven't really moved the needle, or I'm not tracking what kind of weights I'm putting on and I'm blindfolded
Right.
and I'm just kind of doing this. I don't actually know how close I'm getting to it. I have no way to tell. So instead of saying, I want to lose 80 pounds in the next 2 years, it's like, hey, let's lose 5 pounds in the next 90 days and then talk about it and see how easy
Right.
that was for you. If you could do that again for the next 90 days, if it was so easy that you could do 10 pounds over the next 90 days when we sit down, or if it was so hard that maybe we need to just kind of reassess and make sure your goals are realistic, or maybe your strategy just wasn't very good.
Right. I mean, the system is everything,
Hmm.
right? So if you have a broken system, you're going to continually be broken and you'll never get where you want to go. However, if you recognize that, like I was able to accomplish that first 5 pounds, great. What worked well for you? What were the biggest challenges that you faced in that first part, initial part of your journey? Because honestly, it's not uncommon for our clients in the first 90 days to lose somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds of body fat and increase muscle mass for an untrained individual. And again, by design, trying to help clients accomplish those things, that's a big deal. I mean, what would you do differently in your life if you were a little stronger and you weighed a little less so your joints didn't ache as much?
A lot more. Or the same amount of stuff, but feel better while I did it.
Right, do what you do that you love and do it with less effort, right?
100%.
Yeah. Do you ever find that there's, like, a moment when you recognize a client has gone from, "Hey, I'm gonna try this thing out, I'm probably not gonna stick around very long," to, "Okay, this is actually a part of my life."
Yeah. There's a couple of moments that are really telling when a person kind of makes that decision to make it just a part of their routine, their lifestyle. Like they're just the kind of person that goes to the gym. One that I think is really cool is when people start to like discover things on their own, even if it's stuff that I maybe have been telling them for a long time.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I hear you 100%.
I had a client last year. um, we did one of our goal reviews and found that over the last year, she was down about 40 pounds and was like, this is so awesome. What has been the biggest shift that you've made? And over the last year, we had talked about like calories in, calories out, making sure that that number is always smaller, and different like ways in which that's really important. How you can still have balance as long as these numbers kind of line up. And if you go over, the drill. But throughout those kinds of discussions about diet, she'd be like, I'm going to try carnivore. And it's like, all right. And, do that for a little while. Tell me about how that's going, how she's feeling. And when she lost those 40 pounds, and I asked her, like, what do you think was the biggest change that really like started to move the needle after all these years? And she said, I started counting calories. And I was like, did you? And she was like, yeah, and I know you told me about that a bunch of times. And I don't know if I just didn't believe you, or I just thought that these other testimonials I heard around carnivore and other stuff were like really fascinating, or what. But yeah, it turns out the one thing you have to eat is less. But I could explain that all the live long day and like why that's the science or whatever, but the moment where someone just kind of discovers it for themselves, that's a kind of revelation that you can't teach. They like
Right.
self-discover it, and that was like a moment where they went out and they did it, like they're the kind of person who like figured it out, and now they're
Yeah.
pursuing it long term. And that's when like lifelong change happens, is when they're truly convinced and applied.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, the journey is such a big deal. I always tell people when they first start, like, if you're 50 years old, you've had 50 years of experience that has taught you what you know,
Hmm.
right? And so there's some patterns and some habits you're going to have to unlearn in order to get your goals accomplished, in order to be healthy the way you want to be. If you already knew how to do it and you were doing it, then we probably wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
But because we're sitting here, it just shows me that you need some help with it. And that's okay. I think even coaches need coaches. I got a business coach. I reach out to you when I need programming help sometimes. Like, there's so many ways that you can be more efficient when you have somebody helping you on your journey, right?
100%. And like, if it was just the biggest and most jacked person in your gym was also the smartest and the best at coaching, the top Olympians who are on stages, they all have coaches, and all
Yeah.
of them look worse than their athletes. Almost every
Right.
single one of them.
Right. Oh man, that's a topic for another day, the way a coach looks. I mean, but the having the knowledge to be able to help your client get where they want to be, that's the value of a coach. I mean, honestly, nobody really cares how much we can bench press or what our back squat is or what even our calories are for the day, right? Like, what they care about is I'm paying for a service and I want to be able to efficiently reach my goals and know where I'm headed. And if we can help them do that as coaches, mission accomplished.
Hmm.
I know there's going to be people listening to this that are either driving home or they're watching this on YouTube and they've had a long day and they just think that all hope is lost, right? Like, I've tried workout programs before, I've been to gyms before. I know I need to do something. I just don't know where to start. What would you tell that person if they called you up?
Yeah, I'd say that you don't need to know everything before you do anything. I'd say that that's what we're here for. Like if I say, hey, my car's making a clunking sound, I have no idea where to start. I wouldn't know what to look at. If I could pop my hood and pretend like I'm looking for the source, but I don't really know what I'm looking for. I'm just going to take it to a mechanic. I'm just going to show up and say, hey, this is what's going on. Help me. And that's what we're here for. And so for people who that seems like very daunting, the idea that you just like show up, it's not showing up to an empty garage full of tools, and being like, okay, let's find the clunking sound and make this baby purr again. It's showing up to somebody who's actually going to like walk through what these issues are, when they started, or what you want to do, like where you've been, where you want to go. And then, something like our assessment, which is super in depth, that we get to learn you a little bit better and then set you up for success in the long term. Like that's what a professional is for.
So, say somebody isn't maybe ready to come talk to a coach. Obviously, we can help them, right?
Mhm.
But maybe what's something that they can do on their own to at least get that ball rolling in the right direction?
Something that is incredibly, I think, underrated among people who even already are very active is walk.
Right.
Something that is
Yeah.
absolutely astounding to me is the direct, like, inverse correlation between step count and all-cause mortality. It's pretty. People who walk more die less. That's why
Not if you're walking on the road in Montana. Shoot, a trailer will straight
I
take you out.
so yeah, things like that. I'd say that as far as bottom of the barrel ways that people can maybe start the journey of like moving, maybe getting a little bit lighter or whatever have you, try to pick up something heavy, get lots of steps, and it's okay to be hungry. I think that if you can embrace like maybe those three things, that is about like the surface level of where anybody can start. You know, you don't have to buy a kettlebell set and do a whole CrossFit routine in your living room because you said you wanted to start being active again. You can go for a
Right.
walk. And if a mile's too long, go to your mailbox. If your mailbox is too far, go halfway and come back. There's really no rules for this stuff. Like if it's too much for you, it's too much for you. I would never take a client who's like relatively fit and really good at bench pressing and then put 100 pounds more than their max on there because it's too much for them. It just doesn't make sense to do that. And likewise, if some kind of rigorous routine governed by yourself, you know, is going to be too much for you, don't do that. But
Right.
a little bit goes a really long way, and it's pretty incredible the how little you can get away with getting so much out of. Obviously, that isn't just a linear line that goes up forever because intense exercise, especially if you have a coach that's able to know what's too much for you, where to go hard, where to pull back, is really valuable, is going to set you up even better. But people would be really surprised by just how much they can get out of how.
Yeah, I think knowledge is only part of it, but execution or action is everything,
Mhm.
right? Like you don't have to make it complex. You don't have to have a specific periodization or a deload week. Like just moving initially can change your life. We've had clients that have started wanting to have a habit change, and we'll start them out walking 2 minutes a day. Like, this is stupid, Ryan. Why am I like, I get my shoes on and then I'm done. Well, it's because we're trying to build a habit. And if you can walk 2 minutes a day for 2 weeks, you're starting to build a habit.
Mhm.
Then go from two minutes to 5 minutes, right? If you can walk for 5 minutes every day for another 2 weeks, now you're 4 weeks into building a new habit. I think most people out there can probably find 2 or 5 minutes a day to put shoes on and walk in a circle, but they feel like they have to have this really great exercise program. There's nothing wrong with a really great exercise program, but if you only have the knowledge and you don't apply the action, shoot, it's classic faith without works is dead, right? Like you
100%.
can straight up believe it all that you want, but unless you're working towards it, you're really not moving, forward in any meaningful manner.
Yeah, 100%. Whatever, we should get a tally of how often you and I both said 100%. Yeah.
At least 4 times.
At least 100%, I agree with this. But, something that was very humbling even for me, and, like, I'm in a gym every day because it's my job, and I love this stuff, I'm very passionate about it, but over the last year, I know I've shared with you, I got married, and, we've got a couple more.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Way to go, Savannah.
But, I like good food, and I like her company, and I love good food in her company, and we've traveled a lot too over this last year, and I ended up getting and I also got injured a couple of times, which didn't help, but there were ways I could have worked around a lot of those injuries to keep, mobile, and, the fact that I didn't do that at the time made coming back a lot harder, and, over this last year, put on about 40 pounds in not a lot of time, and I am coaching other people to do the exact opposite of this. And so all the knowledge of how to do these things, it's right here. I have it. I do it for my work. And it's like something I'm very passionate about, but I didn't apply it and I hadn't been for a long time. And then I looked at the scale and I was like, really? And I looked at the mirror and I was like, I guess that makes sense. I
Surprise!
didn't realize the dent that I made. But it just goes to show that even if you have it all, it doesn't mean that it's just going to be put into action. And the action is really what actually stimulates a change. I could be completely ignorant to how to move at all and just show up to a local box gym and just do a couple of the machines and go for a long walk every day. And that would have been a lot better than what I did for a long time having the knowledge that I do. And so You don't have to know everything before you do anything.
Well, I mean, that'll preach all day. I almost said 100%, but I didn't wanna make it number
You didn't want
12.
to add to the tally.
Oh, man, well, I know you love to read. I know that you, are invested in your clients' lives. What's a really great book that someone could pick up that's maybe had an impact on your life or that, you would say, "Man, if you're gonna read a book, you gotta check this one out."
I think that's something especially that pertains to what we've been talking about that I read is what's it called? The Art of Resilience by Ross Edgley. It's kind of documenting his like mindset and philosophy and journey while he swam around Great Britain, which is absolutely unbelievable. And he does not look
Wow.
like a swimmer either. He looks like he wouldn't look out of place on a bodybuilding stage, but he walked, he swam around Great Britain. And something that I love that he talks about, he kind of coins something he calls like stoic sports science and
Uh-huh.
how like control the things you can control, accept the things that you can't, being okay doing the mundane all the time. The people who do certain sports to the highest degree, like the top of the top, the Olympians, the bodybuilders, the like whatever have you, they'll tell you if you ask them like, "How did you get so shredded for show day?" They're like, "I just ate the same crap every day for several months
Yeah.
and was just okay with it." And they just show up and they do the same things every day. And the idea that there's like a big, a little trick or a hack that's going to get you somewhere any faster. I think that's a really great book that kind of explores some of the philosophy behind like being so okay with the mundane, the repetitive. I mean, this man's swimming, 8 hours a day, every day for a couple of months and talk about repetitive. It's just one
Right.
stroke after another. He didn't even have headphones. Poor dude. They're throwing him bananas into the water to keep him fed. He's burning so many
"Swim,
calories.
monkey, swim."
Yeah, I really like that book to get just kind of an insight into the mind of somebody who's willing to just endure that much just repetition day after day, and not just repetition but something that's really hard. And so I
Right.
think that it's a really great read for anybody who's wanting to kind of explore or maybe want some insight into the mind of somebody who knows that better than almost anybody.
I got one more question and we're gonna wrap up here. I learned from a mentor a long time ago. He said, "Try and learn cheaply what cost others dearly."
Mm.
The idea that if you look at someone's life, everyone's got scars, everyone's got challenges that they've been through. And if they're willing to share with you what they learned in that season of life, try and learn it from them so you don't have to get the same scar. If you had this was the last 60 seconds of your life and you had one thing to share with somebody, what would you share with them?
This is actually from Proverbs, and I think that even if someone isn't religious, everyone should read Proverbs. It's just a fountain of wisdom. It says that the person in a man's heart is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. I would say that the idea that I can know something and then tell somebody that thing so that they have it in their minds means that they're just going to like do it. There's something that's so much more key to being whether it's a good coach or a good business person or anything, is the ability to build a relationship and really draw out why somebody's doing what they're doing, because that kind of like relationship will do more to like push somebody forward than any amount of knowledge. I could sit down with somebody for an hour and just talk and tell them everything that they will ever need to know if I just talk just unbroken for an hour straight on how to be their, healthiest, strongest self. And they would walk out and be like, "Yeah, I didn't get any of that. I didn't really care what he was saying. He was just kind of in what he's just clanging cymbal in one ear out the other." I think that the ability to build on relationships, draw out their why, and relate to people because they're a person just like you, not just somebody you show up and clocked in with and you're like, "All right, we're just running this program." Like being able to really relate to and talk to people goes so much further than just having the head knowledge. And also makes people a lot more receptive to what you do know. I love what you shared with me that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I think is such a beautiful way to just summarize that, because I think that client I was telling you about that was trying like carnivore and all these other different diets, while I would kind of be like, the calorie thing is actually what's going to move the needle the most. Sometimes people just need to discover it for themselves. But just the fact that I'm telling people it doesn't necessarily mean that that's just going to translate into them doing it. Just because now they have the head knowledge doesn't even mean that they necessarily believe me. I might tell someone something, and so now they know that I think that. They don't actually maybe trust or know that that's the thing if they've always known something different. And so the steps in actually building a relationship with people is so huge. And I don't want to say underrated, because I think that people know that. But I'd say that that is something that I didn't fully like see in real time for a long time, because I'm just such a geek that I learned a bunch of cool stuff. And when someone says, I want to be able to do this better, and I'd be like, this is how you do that thing better. And here's why. It goes deeper than that if you're actually trying to change someone's life.
Yeah, it always goes back to relationship with people. And I agree. I mean, shoot, these were like nuggets of wisdom from Will. Like, I really appreciate you joining me today, Will, to kind of do our very first podcast, talk a little bit about how we help clients and what you love to do, a passion you have. I happen to share the same passion. And, we are on a mission to help 1,000 business people in the Flathead Valley. And I hope that through this media, even if people aren't training with us directly, we're able to encourage them a little bit through the podcast, help them connect with other people that are invested in their health, their fitness, their lifestyle, their business as well. And so, if Will said anything today that resonated with you, if you're that person sitting in the car after a long day, thinking I need to do something, Will and I would both encourage you to just take one step. One step that's free and easy would be to go to engagefitnessmontana.com and click the book consultation link. Like I said, it's free. There's no commitment, and it just starts the conversation. Even if it's just getting up and walking a little bit, that's a great starting point. And if you have questions, we'd love to talk with you and help you out. Either way, thanks for listening to Flathead Famous. We'll be back with more stories from the people and businesses shaping this valley. We'll see you next time.